Welcome to Patrick's Point of View. This episode we're going to talk about witchcraft and the myths and the legends. We're going to deal with early modern witchcraft because basically there's so many different types to deal with. Obviously the first sign of witches or witchcraft would be someone who can cast spells.
But she's a witch! Yeah.
Did you dress her up like this?
No!
No.
Yes. Yeah, a bit. She has got a wart.
What makes you think she is a witch?
Well, she turned me into a newt.
A newt?
I got better.
Spells were cast by runes, by potions, by various different methods how different witches would apparently do them. One of the main problems which caused witches a lot of problems is they were alleged that they could actually do thoughts and think thoughts what would happen to people, where if you got a wizard or a conjurer, they would have to use different items to put into spells. But witches didn't have to do that. They could think and people would believe that things were happening to them. This caused a lot of problems with the population who went into a frenzy about this because they really couldn't tell who was a witch and who was not a witch, so therefore everybody in their opinion was a witch. All through history there's been a strong belief in witchcraft, including all different types of cultures, including extremely advanced cultures. Interestingly, before the 1400s, it was very rare for anybody to be prosecuted as a witch or a practicing witch. And even those who were convicted of witchcraft were only given small penalties, such as a day in the stocks. Interestingly, this all changed because of a book. In 1484, clergyman Heinrich Klemer made the very first attempt of prosecuting a witch, but it was not successful. He was actually expelled from the city as a crazy old man. Now, historians have written that he actually wrote that book as an act of revenge. Now, the book he wrote was called The Malleus Maleficarum, which is Latin for Hammer of the Witches. It was the first witch hunting manual. It was actually written by Kramer and Jacob Springer. When they released this book, it was released at a time when Christianity was supposedly battling evil. So if you think about it, he released it at the most worst time possible. It was a bestseller, second only to the Bible for 200 years. Obviously this book caused a hell of a lot of trouble for the witch trials for people who were not witches, who were claimed to be witches. So this book actually caused a lot of deaths. The majority of them were accused were women, because obviously in this book it said that women were weaker than men. So basically any man who became a witch done it through the want of power, typical males. This was seen in them times not as bad as being weak. So the book laid out a specific definition of how a witch should be. Should a pact entered in with the devil, should sexual relations with the devil, aerial flight for the purpose of attending a meeting presided over by Satan himself, practice of maleficent magic, and obviously the slaughter of babies. As you can see now, witchcraft now all revolves around the devil. This is why religion got so involved. So most of these persecutions took place between 1560 and 1630. And in this time, an estimated total between 40 to 60,000 people were executed. Obviously, this total does not include anybody who died awaiting trial. One of the largest and the most famous was the Salem witch trials. Obviously, most of the way they done it to get people to admit that they were witches was done through torture in them days. And the actual Pope actually removed all limits of torture. So basically they could do whatever they wanted to that person. In actual, the people who could take that amount of torturing were released, but the poor souls who couldn't take so much pain as that were obviously done as witches, because it would cost them to confess. Obviously, because of the amount of pain and torture which happened to these people, they would give anybody's name, and therefore it caused a large panic that anybody could be a witch in their mind.
You have pled guilty to the practice of witchcraft, but such a plea is not sufficient to spare your life. I want names of others.
Although the majority of them were women, this didn't apply in every region. For example, in Iceland, 92% of them accused were actually men. And also in the witch trials of Russia, 2/3 were male. Though it seemed that witches were just females, there were actually male witches too. The majority who were accused obviously were poor people, peasants of the time. The typical target was a witch who was rather a farmer's wife or a widower, who had an aggressive nature, would like to argue, or just didn't let anybody bully her. However, in times of severe panic, wealthier and high-ranking officials were accused as well of witchcraft. Priests, judges, members of the nobility as well were accused at times. So a lot of these people who were torturing and accusing these people actually believed that these people who they accused were involved with the devil, and that's what's caused a lot of the problem. So it really shows you the way to hell is paved by good intentions. Sadly, the only punishment for witchcraft was death, as in the Old Testament it states, "Thou shalt not permit a sorceress to live." And actually, amazingly, the panic got so out of control, they actually put animals up as witches. How ridiculous. The most famous case of an animal being prosecuted as a witch was a rooster, because he laid an egg. I'm sorry, I can't keep a straight face on this, viewers. How could you take a rooster to court claiming it is a witch because it's laid an egg? Didn't they realise it might have sat on an egg what was next to the hen? But anyway, they took him to court and apparently they burnt him. And also, a pig and her piglets were actually took to court, with the mum being accused of murder. But the good news is the babies got off. Now fortunately, the witch hunts had declined by the 18th century because people were more sensible, and the British Witchcraft Act was brought in 1735, and this actually made it illegal for anybody to claim that anybody had any magical powers, and accusing witchcraft had a penalty of 1 year in prison. So obviously witches have never had really any good publicity. They've always been seen as the bad guys in movies and on TV programs and etc. But actually witchcraft is not evil, it is actually a way of life, and it is a belief. But there's so much which to talk about it. We will be talking about Wicca and paganism in a future show. Even now in modern days, witchcraft is highly believed and actually still persecuted in a way. In places like Africa, they still believe that a lot of illnesses is due to witchcraft, i.e. AIDS or different things like that, where they will take different sorts of animals, even body parts, and actually kill people through it. So it is a very strong belief even nowadays. And because they're so suspicious in modern medicine, which we have nowadays, that lots of them won't even take it, won't accept it, prefer the witchcraft theory of it, and loads of them are dying through it unnecessarily. Even in Britain nowadays, witchcraft is a big problem in Britain. Witchcraft is being took into our country from Africa, different parts of the world, and they're blaming their children if the children go mentally ill or there's something wrong with the children. They're making out it's witchcraft because of, obviously, from their heritage, which we know it is, and that has caused a lot of problems, i.e. in child abuse, etc., stuff like that. And actually the police have seen crimes linked to this behaviour double since 2014. And obviously there has been a lot of scams done by ministers who say that the children are possessed by demons, witches, etc., charge them a lot of money for it, and it's just not true. This is actually happening nowadays, and the children are suffering basically due to outdated belief in witchcraft. Now, from my own point of view, witchcraft is very interesting. I've actually met some witches through my years. Most of them seem to be lovely ladies. A lot of them will deal in white witch craft, which is herbals, medicines, etc., stuff like that. Obviously there is just so much different type of witchcraft, new age witchcraft, old witchcraft. It's just so much to discuss. Wiccan, all different types. We'll have to put this for another conversation at another time, another point of view. But as I said, I have seen a bit of witchcraft. I do know some witches, seem to be nice people to me. I've never had any problems with it. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. Make your own views on what you think about it and check it out and see what it means to you. And can I thank you very much, and I hope you see again. So remember, if you did like the discussion of the topic, remember to like and subscribe, please. Thank you.